Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the MPN 101 Community Call. My name is Chinmayi Bhavanishankar, and I'm part of the U.S. Partner Experience team. And every week on the MPN 101 Community Call, I take one part of the program, one facet of the Microsoft Partner Program, simplify it for you, and get you some information that you might be then able to use to build your business and build your practice as a Microsoft partner. Today we will be talking about Digital Partner of Record, and with us we have Fearghal O'Higgins from the Worldwide Partner Group, and he is the subject matter expert for Digital Partner of Record. Before we actually get into that, there are a couple slides and some information that I'd want to go through for those who are maybe new to the MPN 101 community call. For those who have already been on the call, thank you for your patience. Bear with me here. The Microsoft Partner Network has 3 membership options. There is Network Membership, Action Pack Subscription, which is Action Pack Subscription is a paid subscription. You get internal use licenses and support. Network Membership is free. And then you have Competencies, which is an earned designation, and there are 2 levels, Silver and Gold. Now, the one thing that's constant about the Microsoft Partner Program is that it keeps changing, and I want to make sure that you know where to go to look for information about any change that does happen. So as of today, there are 17 competencies. Actually, there are 18 competencies, and of those, there were 5 cloud competencies as of yesterday, but around Office 365, there is cloud productivity and small and mid-market cloud solutions competency. Around Microsoft Azure, there's the cloud platform competency. Around Microsoft Dynamics CRM, there's the cloud customer relationship management competency. And around enterprise mobility and security, there's the enterprise mobility management competency. Now, there is a new competency that was added, which is the cloud business applications competency, where you can demonstrate your expertise in Microsoft Dynamics 365. You can get additional details on this competency on the link that I've provided and on the Microsoft Partner Portal as well. This is why I said that the partner program does keep changing, and I try my best to get this information to you as soon as possible and make sure that you have everything that you need to build your practice. There are 4 steps to attain a competency, to attain a cloud competency rather. 1, you'll have to demonstrate sales performance in the trailing 12 months. You'll have to pass technical exams. Again, these are specific to each cloud competency. And you'll have to provide customer evidence. So these are referrals from customers that you've worked with saying that you're the partner that delivered a solution with them and you have that track record. So for a silver cloud competency, you'll have to provide 3 customer referrals. And for gold, you'll have to provide 5. And the last but not the least is the fee. In return for finishing those steps, for completing those steps, here are some of the benefits. You get unlimited cloud support in the product that you get a cloud competency in. You get additional software licenses and Azure credits, additional compared to a non-cloud competency. And you get eligibility to partner incentives. And of course, you get guaranteed account coverage at the gold cloud competency level as well, which means that you'll have someone on the Tele group kind of working with you to build your business and to get through your partner program and your partner journey in the Microsoft Partner Program. There are many ways to connect with us. If you want to learn more about the partner program, I do have a new partner orientation call as part of the MPN 101 community call series, and that happens once every 2 months. You can see the call recording and the deck posted in the MPN 101 Yammer group as well. You can subscribe to the newsletter. You can read one of our blog posts, which is where we talk about 3 things that you can do as a new US partner. You've already participated in this MPN 101 call, so that's a check. But engage with us on Yammer. we know that a lot of this might not be perfect. It's a work in progress, and we want to hear from you. So the more you stay engaged, the more we know about how our programs are doing with you. Another way to stay engaged with us is Microsoft Inspire. That is the conference that we have, the biggest partner-facing conference that Microsoft hosts. This year it was in DC in July, and this next year in 2018 it will be in Las Vegas, Nevada. And if there's one thing that you need to know is that the all access pass price for this conference keeps going up. So the sooner you buy the pass, the better. And people that have been to the conference in the past will tell you that it's a huge networking opportunity. It's a great place to learn more about what's coming for Microsoft as a company from our executives. We did a recap for Microsoft Inspire 2017 in my last MPN 101 call. You can go back and take a look at that, just the deck if you would like, if you don't have the time, so that you can know what the conference is all about. And with that, we'll move on to the topic of the hour, Digital Partner of Record. And with me today, we have Fearghal O'Higgins. Hi, Fearghal. Thank you for joining the call today.
Hi, Chinmayi. Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started with the content.
Absolutely. So my name is Fearghal O'Higgins. I work in the One Commercial Partner Group, OCP. It's formerly known as WPG, the Worldwide Partner Group, here in Redmond. I work on the partner incentives team, and part of my remit is looking at what we call partner association methods. So this is basically the methodologies that we use to identify partners who are working with our customers to drive customer usage and consumption within the cloud. So of course, one of the main methods of partner association we use today is digital partner of record. So part of my job is to look at that to make sure you as our partners can understand that, and of course to drive improvements and efficiencies in that overall methodology. So hopefully after today's session you can understand a bit more about partner of record. If you have specific questions, I'd be delighted to hear and answer them for you, and hopefully I can share with you a bit of the existing status quo for digital partner of record, but also where we want to bring that in terms of one of our primary partner association methods that is obviously key for us as we grow our cloud customer base together with you, our partners.
Sounds good. And so you said this is your expertise and you want to help partners learn more. Let's start off with, what is Digital Partner of Record?
Absolutely. So digital partner record, it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And I heard one of the attendees sees it as just an acronym, which is what it is. So DPOR is Digital Partner of Record. In its purest sense, it is an online capability for a cloud customer to designate a partner of record to their cloud subscription. So with that designation, then Microsoft will, of course, see who the partner is that the customer has designated as digital partner of record, and through that designation the partner will get visibility from Microsoft and will receive certain benefits. You've touched on some already, Chinmayi, in terms of competency qualification. Another important benefit is eligibility to earn incentives for driving that customer activity. So it's obviously hugely beneficial for Microsoft in terms of a function. So we get to see who the partners are that are working with our cloud customers and that are driving consumption in Azure, or for example usage in Office 365. So the benefit for the partner, we've just seen, we have competencies, we have incentives, we have benefits that are associated with the competencies themselves, and general discoverability from Microsoft, which will lead to more leads being passed to the partners. In terms of a customer value proposition, and again, this is something that I think we need to work a bit better at, but basically, I find that a partner who is able to articulate the customer value proposition for DPOR is generally the partner who will do very well at DPOR. So it does give the partner benefits, and the partner being able to share or work together with the customer to sell the value of DPOR. So DPOR brings the partner closer to the customer. It will enable the partner to earn incentives which can be used towards that joint work between the partner and the customer as well. So it improves partner discoverability. So the more partners that are tagged as Deport, the better visibility they get, the more choice the customer will have to select the partner that fits their needs the best. So that's really digital partner of record. It's an online designation. It is obviously used for various different downstream programs and processes such as incentives, such as competency attainment. But in its purest sense, it is the designation by a customer, so by the subscription administrator within the customer tenant of a partner on that subscription to indicate, hey, Microsoft, this is the partner that is working with me. One important point to note in relation to digital partner of record is that it is at a subscription level, not at a customer level. So that means that a customer with more than one cloud subscription, for example, for more than one cloud product, be it Azure or Enterprise Mobility Suite, or AX7, each individual subscription, cloud-based subscription, has the ability to have a unique partner of record attached to it. So said differently, the partner of record or digital partner of record is not at a customer level, it's rather at a cloud subscription level, which will enable multiple partners to get recognition based on the product or the specific subscription that they're working with the customer on. So as long as that subscription is active and being used to power Office 365 or Azure, the associated partner of record on that subscription will get the credit. As soon as that subscription stops running or stops driving that usage or consumption, if the customer migrates to a new subscription or migrates to a new product, it's imperative that the partner understands this and then works with the customer to get attached to that new replacement subscription. So I guess the benefit, said it differently, the benefit of a Deport on a subscription is only there as long as that subscription is active and actively consuming cloud.
Gotcha. So just to reiterate, I think that's a great point, that if there's one customer with multiple subscriptions, then the partner has to add themselves, or the customer has to add the partner for these multiple subscriptions individually. It's not on a per customer.
Correct, absolutely. So it's not on a per customer basis, it's on a per subscription basis. And I think, based on what we've seen over the past 12 to 18 months, I think that is if above all else we had something, important to call out, it is that clarification that it is the subscription that is the attachment that the partner has, not the actual full customer base.
So one of the questions we have from Randall on the call is that also at a workload level?
It is not yet at a workload level, and that's something that I can share with you later in the session. We do absolutely recognize that within a customer engagement, they basically use different cloud workloads, and there can be, of course, different partners that are experts in different workloads. The Deport Association, as I've just said, is at the subscription level. So if that subscription is running more than one workload, unfortunately, that means that there still can only be one partner associated to that. So if you look at an E5 subscription, for example, that is running multiple different workloads, if there is one subscription, there is only the opportunity for one partner to be attached. Similarly for Azure, for example, if there is one subscription running two or more different Azure workloads, maybe a big data workload, maybe a web and mobile or application-based workload. If that is all on the one subscription, then there can be only one partner of record attached to that subscription at any point in time. That said, we are exploring ways in which we can enable multiple partner identification or multiple partner recognition on a single subscription, and that would be at the specific workload level or at the Azure resource level. I don't have anything concrete in terms of timelines to share with you yet, but know that we are definitely working towards that. We do recognize this as a need, and that the subscription as an atomic unit of partner work doesn't really fit anymore, and really we should be looking towards something more granular. As you've mentioned, the workload would be a very good level of granularity for us to get to in terms of being able to associate a partner with specific activity.
All right, thank you. I think the questions for multiple partners working on one customer is coming up. We'll get to that, folks, shortly. It's part of the agenda. So I think the one place for partners to go to get some of these questions answered is also the MPN Digital Partner of Record page, right, Fearghal?
That's correct. So on the right-hand side of the slide, you have some resources. So in the middle there, we have a landing page on MPN This is not behind the MPN firewall, so it's publicly available. So this is available for you, our partners. It's also available to our Microsoft internal teams, but also it's available to customers. So if you have existing customers or potential customers that have questions around DPOR, maybe they've heard what DPOR is, maybe they want to know what DPOR is, maybe they have been told some stories about DPOR and they want to make sure that they're true. So they've heard some myths, let's say that. So the MPN DPOR page is really at the core an attempt to clarify what DPOR is, to demystify DPOR, to clarify what it is and by consequence what it is not. So I would definitely encourage you as our partners to familiarize yourself with all of the content on that page. You have everything from step-by-step videos and guides in terms of how to technically and physically add, or how a customer can physically add you as DPOR. There's also a very good frequently asked questions, or FAQ, document that we are keeping alive and updating every month or a couple of months as new questions and areas or gray areas come to us, basically. So I would definitely suggest that, familiarize yourself with that. We have some one-pager documents that are specifically designed to be customer facing, that will proactively answer customers questions, fears, concerns around DPOR, and being very frank about what DPOR is for them, what it is for the partner, why it's important for Microsoft. Some of them may ask you, what does DPOR mean? What does a partner get? Can they see my data? Do they have control? Is there a risk? So all of those questions, concerns, scenarios should be answered there. So please do check it out. And again, if you have any questions after that, or if you feel that anything is missing in terms of important information, I would love to hear about that. And we can definitely add. As I said, it's a living page. It's a living frequently asked questions document. So the more feedback we get from you guys in terms of what the questions that are top of mind for you, we will make that ultimately a more useful document for our full community.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then at the top we have the resources. So for Azure, it's surprisingly enough, DPOR is added on Azure.com. So it is where the subscription is created and administered from. And then for Office and other seat-based services, so you're talking EMS or AX7 or Power BI, CRM Online, those seat-based services are all administered from the Office portal. So that's portal.office.com. So there are two locations for DPOR. One, unique for Azure, which is a metered-based service, and then the other, which are seat-based services, which encompasses Office, and the other seat-based services, portal.office.com. So definitely be aware that this is the case. It's the customer subscription admin that will be the person you will need to work with to get yourself added as DPOR. And again, the DPOR landing page has that set of training videos and step-by-step guides and FAQ documents that you can then proactively provide to the subscription admin or the account admin for them to add you as DPOR. And again, as I said, it's the partners who can have the best sales pitch for DPOR, or do best at DPOR. The intent of DPOR is to be the partner who is helping the customer drive. Who's driving the customer and helping them deploy and manage and use our cloud services. It's not intended to be the transactional partner. So be clear on that as well. That doesn't mean transactional partners cannot be DPOR, but the intent of DPOR is ultimately for the partners who are influencing the actual usage in the cloud. So that is really a post-sale and post-subscription creation activity that will drive increased seat-based usage or increased meter-based consumption on Azure.
Gotcha. And so I know we kind of touched on this, and from the poll we saw that partners, the audience at least here, wants to know about product-specific process. How does one add themselves as the digital partner of record for Office 365 or CRM Online? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So again, it's just kind of real quick. There are two different places, as I said. There's one for Azure and one for the seat-based services. So it's a common experience. We'll look at here the seat-based services. So you have the list of products on top here: Office 365, CRM Online, Dynamics 365, now AX7, Microsoft Intune, Power BI, EMS. So any of those are what we define as seat-based services within the cloud, and they are all administered from that one location, which is portal.office.com. The DPOR as a thing lives upon the subscription, and the subscription is originates from the portal.office.com site. So really that's where the customer needs to go. There's a set of instructions here. I'm not going to go into each of these steps, but basically the the individual to add the deport will access the subscription, follow the instructions here and basically add your partner, Microsoft Partner Network or MPN ID. So that is the level at which deport is attached at. So it's important that, having the deport conversation with the customer is obviously key, selling them the value that it can bring you and the value that it can mutually bring you both in terms of this cloud journey. That's very important. Being able to answer their questions on what it is not, what the risks are, and there are very few risks with deport, if any at all. So that's very important as well. A very important thing in addition to that is the customer or the individual that's going to add you. It's important that they know what your MPN ID is, because that is the number that they need to enter into the portal to associate you with that subscription or to designate you as the deport on that subscription. So the user adding you as deport will enter your partner ID. They will click a validate button, which will then bring back on the UI a validation that this is your ID, and then your organization name will also appear. And then the user simply accepts that, and that is you added as the deport. So important that they understand the concept of deport, what it's for, understand the risks and benefits. Critical that they know what your MPN ID is. And then basically that's it in terms of the act of them associating you to the subscription. After that, then, all of the downstream benefits will start to kick in terms of competency, attainment, or incentives earnings, which all have their specific criteria as well as that. But the starting point for any and both of those things, for example, is getting added as deport. So for these set of seat-based services, here it is. And then on the next two slides.
So really quickly, Joel had a question. Partner ID, when you talk about that, is that our location ID or the organization ID is what?
That's a great question. And, Microsoft, we love our IDs. We don't just give you one. I'm kidding, but it really doesn't matter. It's really what level, Joel, that you wish to be associated at and to get the recognition at. Either way, whether it's your location ID or your HQ ID or even your virtual organization ID, all of those are your IDs. Will get you the credit. It really depends how you want to manage your business and be seen as one unit or specific regional units from Microsoft. So I would say work with your local account teams to understand what is the best way for you to get that recognition. But in terms of recognition, you will get the recognition. It really depends how you want to get the recognition, whether it is regional specific recognition or national recognition or full global recognition. Yeah. Either way, it will all roll up to your entity.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think if you're trying to earn a competency at a location level, I would put in the location ID. Regardless, your organization will get credit for this. I think, as Fearghal said, it depends on if you're trying to attain a competency on a location level in addition to something that you have at an org level, then that's where you would want that credit to go.
Exactly.
So the next one is about Azure.
Yeah, so for Azure, so this is the unique one here that is not administered from the portal.office.com site. It's administered from azure.com. And there are two ways to into adding a deport for Azure, for an Azure subscription. Up to June this year, it was only possible through the account administrator. So this was basically the individual in the customer organization who was in charge of the account. So it's a billing and administration function within Azure. So these are the steps there. That is still possible. We have also added since June, on the next slide, Chinmayi, and I'm not going to go into these details. I think that's fair enough for you guys to look through that. They're pretty self-explanatory. But this is a new feature within Azure Deport that we have enabled deport to be added on a subscription by the subscription administrator themselves or even by the subscription contributor. So previously, as I've mentioned, it was just the account admin. So if you think about the Azure structure and how an Azure subscription or an Azure account is configured, you would have one account with multiple subscriptions in that account. Previously, it was the account admin. So there was one account admin. That was the only person that was able to add, change, or remove a deport for the multiple different subscriptions under that account. That is still the case, but we have also enabled at the individual subscription level, each individual subscription admin has the power to add, change, or remove a deport on their own subscription. So on the subscription where they are the admin, and if they choose to add a subscription contributor to that specific subscription, that subscription contributor will also have the ability to add, change, or remove a deport. So again, not going to go through each step by step, but it is a sequential steps. Again, similar to what we've seen with the Office and the seat-based services, it is MPN ID based. So it's key that the customer knows the MPN ID and the right one that you want them to use. They will enter that into the UI, click a validate button. They will, your name associated to that ID organization name will be brought back. The user will click accept or submit, and that's it. You are added as the deport to that subscription. And then once again, the downstream benefits of that should kick in terms of the competency attainment, the incentive eligibility, and just the other general recognition that you will get from being that deport.
And the videos as to the step-by-step also does exist on the MPN Digital Partner of Record page, right?
Correct. Everything that we're looking at here in terms of screenshots it's available in Word format, in PowerPoint format, and in video format.
Right. Tracy's asking the question, shouldn't the focus for DPR and competency be virtual or headquarter MPNs? Once the competency is earned in one of those, it becomes inherited by the other MPN IDs, or am I mistaken? So I think this was more in terms of which ID the customer should be adding in.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's really a personal choice from either the individual or the partner in terms of what level, what MPN level they wish to get that association at. So correct in saying that if you do it at the VORG level, that will, trickle down, and the associated underlying location and HQ IDs will get the benefit. I would say some, if not most partners would do it that way. But again, depending on the uniqueness of locations, and if you're talking about cross-border, cross-geography, cross-continent, not everybody does it that way for different reasons, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and if that suits your organization setup, then that sounds like that's what you should do.
Yeah, I think Digital Partner of Record also gives credit for consumption for partners for driving customer consumption, and so especially when there are companies with multiple countries, it helps to have that location ID in there, because then we know where that consumption is being driven. I think for US specific partners, that's what we're talking to. Either one should get you the credit.
Correct.
So other than Digital Partner of Record, are there other ways for partners to get credit for a customer subscription?
Absolutely. So generally, we're talking about today primarily about Digital Partner of Record, but overall we kind of refer to this as partner association, and within a customer engagement, a typical Microsoft customer engagement, there are many partners that are active there. They could be specific product focused, productivity or platform, or security, or mobility, and there are also different sales stages in terms of the customer deciding to making the decision to buying the cloud entitlement, deploying the cloud entitlement, and using the cloud entitlement indefinitely. So there's various different partners and roles that are needed within your average customer lifecycle. So as such, we absolutely understand that there is not one single partner association method that will be good enough to identify the multiple different partners. So we've talked about the need for deport to be at a workload level if there are different partners and different workloads. So we have additional ways here that partners can get recognition, and these are growing, and this isn't a static list, but these are what we have in market right now. So we have a thing called Delegated Administrator for seat-based services. This is essentially where the customer can empower you as a partner to admin on their behalf within the cloud subscription, or even within the workload. So that would allow a partner to do admin work on behalf of a customer for Office or for Power BI or for Dynamics or EMS or those kind of things. Delegated admin as a concept does not exist in Azure yet, but it is something that we were looking very much at right now. I don't have a timeline on that, but I'd share with you guys now that it is something that we're actively looking in terms of, engaging with our engineering teams on enabling that. In terms of a timeline, it might not be before, this time next year before it's a real thing, but know that it has high exec support within the company, and we do recognize it as an important method to identify partners who are doing, I guess, what we would call very value add work. In the customer base that have a high trust level between the partner and the customer, that the customer is trusting them to do admin work or deployment work on their behalf. So the concept of delegated admin is one that you will most definitely hear more about as it becomes more prevalent. That is not to say DPOR as a concept will go away. As I was saying, the more methods we have of association, the better, because right now we don't have enough to accommodate the number and breadth of partners that are engaged in a single customer solution. We don't want to have too many, but right now I don't think we have enough. Next one here. Sorry, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, so one question we got was, how do partners that subcontract, design, architect, or implement cloud solutions to another partner with no skills in the Microsoft Cloud workload and whose customer will not allow delegated partner status? So if they're doing that, how does the implementing partner get credit for their consumption?
So just so I understand the question, let me repeat it back. It is a scenario where there is a main partner working with a customer, and that main partner is subcontracting specific niche work with a customer. Could be something that the main partner doesn't have the bandwidth or technical expertise for.
Yeah.
So the question is, how does that further downstream partner get recognition?
Yeah, given that the customer won't add them on as the delegated partner, because a lot of this is customer control too, right? So if the customer says no, then what does the partner do?
And that's a great question, and I think what we're trying to do here is solving a pretty big problem, and it's step by step that we're doing it. So I don't have a good answer for that right now. I mean, the way we're thinking about customer engagement is enabling more points of partner association as possible, more points of partner association than exist today, so as many as needed. So depending on how that customer's cloud subscription is created, or subscriptions are created, it may be possible for that downstream partner to get maybe not delegated administrator if the customer doesn't want that, but to get a DPOR designation, to get different types of designation. But again, that model of subcontracting, we know it exists. It is not, I think, something that we are intentionally planning our partner association methodology around right now, but I think it is something that we definitely need to acknowledge. We do acknowledge that we need to get to in terms of ability to record those partners. It has always been a challenge, when there's subcontracting going on, and the more steps removed from Microsoft the partner is, the more challenging it is to get that visibility. And I think that existed in many of our models long before the cloud was even a concept. So unfortunately, I don't have a good answer in terms of a practical solution for you right now, other than to use and for that customer for that partner to try and leverage the existing methodologies of identification. That's all we have right now. But that said, it is something we need to factor into our future design as we think about how many levels, between ultimately the cloud provider, Microsoft, and the consumer, the customer, there will be, and that sub-delegation and outsourcing of activities is something we need to factor in.
And Hal is asking, does digital partner of record apply to all customers, not just the Microsoft account list customers?
That's a great question as well. So digital partner of record as a function is available on all cloud subscriptions, irrespective of who that customer is. And let me kind of clarify that, caveat that. Cloud subscriptions, in that sense, I mean customer administered cloud subscriptions. So where the customer would naturally become the administrator of the subscription. So for example, where the customer purchased through an enterprise agreement. So it's where it's a Microsoft direct to customer provisioning of the cloud. The customer is the administrator, and DPOR is enabled on that subscription, whether it's Azure or Office 365 or EMS or anything else. DPOR does not exist on CSP subscriptions. That is because the CSP subscription is not administered by the customer. It's administered on behalf of the customer by the partner. So DPOR as a functionality that the customer would use in EA subscription doesn't exist in CSP, However, the recognition that a partner in CSP will get is exactly the same as they would get through DPOR. In fact, it's even better. You will get recognized if you're a partner selling CSP. You will get the recognition for the associated activity, Azure consumption, seat-based usage. You will earn credits towards competency attainment. You will earn financial incentives. So all up, the financial incentives are probably richer on a CSP level. So in terms of the partner recognition for CSP, it is, I don't know, I've kind of deviated a bit from the original question, but I just wanted to make sure I got this point in. So CSP, gives partner just as good, if not better, recognition and benefits. But it also it's an intentional managed service provider model that was created intentionally to facilitate MSPs in the cloud to be the single point of contact with that customer, to provide everything from support to billing to provisioning directly with that customer without the need of an invoice coming from Microsoft, a services bill coming from a partner, for example. So in terms of, back to the question, DPOR exists irrespective of the customer size or type. It is specifically a feature on customer-owned, customer-administered subscriptions. And the other side of that customer-administered subscription is the concept of a partner-administered subscription, which is CSP. As I've just mentioned, the benefits a partner gets in CSP are just as good, if not better, in a lot of areas compared to the DPOR recognition and benefits that they get.
Sounds good. I think we came to that next question about CSP already, and we covered that, so we were well prepared.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So there's a question on if I'm an indirect or direct CSP, how do I get recognized as the partner if digital partner of record is not used? So kind of reiterating what you already said.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. I think it's a very logical question. It's a good question, and we need to be as clear as possible on this. So as I said, DPOR is not a feature of CSP. DPOR being that functionality that we looked at in the first slide, is the ability for a customer administrator to designate a partner. By being the CSP partner, either in a one-tier or two-tier model, you are registered as that partner. You've exclusivity to that subscription with the customer. You are recognized within Microsoft's both transactional system and consumption reporting. So there's nothing more needed for you to be virtually flagged or to get a hat or a jacket to say I am the partner. By being the CSP partner and by being in that either one or two tier transaction chain, you get the recognition for the associated activity. And as CSP is it's a pay as you go model. Any billing activity is essentially usage or consumption activity. So by CSP partner, by being one, you don't need to think about anything else. You are automatically visible and automatically eligible to start benefiting from the benefits you get, whether they are competency attainment, whether they are additional engagement, account engagement, technical engagement from Microsoft, or the financial incentives, essentially the rebates that you would earn through the CSP transactions that you were part of.
Divyang had a question. If say the customer has not entered our details as digital partner of record, can you show that as a customer reference when we apply for the cloud competency?
So the question is, are you, maybe I'll say it another way and correct me if I'm ad-libbing here, but if you're not the DPOR, does that mean you're not really their partner?
Yeah, I think that's essentially the question.
No, it doesn't. No. So the references in that example, you publish the references based on the work that you've done, with or without DPOR, it doesn't matter. So DPOR doesn't mean, not being DPOR doesn't mean you're not the partner. And it's an interesting point. Being DPOR does not mean you are necessarily the partner either. And I mean that in terms of incentives, for example. So by being the DPOR, you're eligible for incentives. It doesn't mean you have a basic right to earn those incentives. We do sometimes, we can request additional information like a proof of execution, which would be something similar to the reference that you would give for the MPN competency. So DPOR is a requirement to earn the incentive. It's not the only thing you need, and it's not a kind of God-given right, if I can say that. To earn an incentive, you may be asked to prove more specific details of the engagement. Yeah. And on the other side, not being DPOR doesn't mean that you haven't done anything. You can absolutely prove fantastic work and reference that towards your MPN attainment without being DPOR. No problem.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think getting to the question that a lot of people have been asking now is how do we combat the problem of multiple partners being associated with a single customer subscription?
Yeah, and I guess this is the $1 million question or the $1 billion question. It is it's a tough one, and as you know, I've kind of talked to it already. It's something that we recognize being an issue. So within the customer, a customer can have multiple partners, and there can be multiple partner depots for a customer. Again, the number of depots is fully correlated to the number of subscriptions the customer has. So that's just so that's clear. It is not the solution or the perfect answer to this, but understanding that is important. So if you, for example, are a partner that will engage with a customer on an Azure work, and that customer already has a subscription and already has an incumbent depot on that subscription, you know, depending on the architectural structure that you could suggest, there's always possible to have another Azure subscription. So instead of having one, you could have two. The customer could have two and assign you a depot on the second one. Again, we're not suggesting that you put the architectural structure at risk just to accommodate depot, but that is something that I've talked to various customers about, and for some of them, the difference between one or two subscriptions is it's very little. So having an extra subscription to accommodate a significant partner doing a significant body of work is possible. So that's one option, not great. I really think the systemic solution to this is to enable partner association or that depot type tagging at the workload level or at the Azure resource level or at the Office, for example, workload level. Again, it's something that we don't have right now, but it's something we were working towards. So until that happens, there's kind of a series of somewhat workarounds that you can do. But I guess the more unique subscriptions, the more unique partners there can be. When we're looking at Office, and you can see the direction we're going with, we're going in terms of E3 to E5 to Microsoft 365 ultimately, and these are really bundled. So that's a challenge. Bundled generally would mean a single subscription, and it can mean a single partner. So that is a tough concept that is kind of we're battling with. So I really think not a good solution for you until we enable that workload specific association. And I would say, keep an eye out for news coming on that. I think we can't get there soon enough. We need to do it properly and securely. So I think that association at the workload level is something definitely we're marching towards, as well as the concept of admin on behalf of or delegated administrator, which again will allow a new or an additional way for partners to get recognized, and more so partners will be able to see with the delegated admin, for example, or admin on behalf of, we'll be able to see exactly the type of work the partner is doing, whether they're admitting on behalf of, what type of activity they're driving, what type of products they're engaged in. So that will give us a very rich set of data.
Yeah, and I think going off of that, considering that this is customer controlled, Meryl is asking a question: will partners being removed from digital partner of record be notified upon being replaced or removed?
Yes, they will, and they should be already. So we have a mechanism in place whereby any digital partner of record change will trigger a series of notifications, one to the partner that is being added and another to the partner that is being removed. Now we have had some issues with those notifications in the past number of months, and we are due to have that fully fixed beginning September. So if you haven't been receiving all of those notifications, apologies for that. We know that is an issue, and partners do rely on that. In terms of an email notification, there are different ways that you can also see at any point in time who your depot customer base is through the MPN Cloud Dashboard, for example, or maybe through other incentive statements. However, the email notifications should be a thing. We know they haven't been sent in all cases, so we're working to fix that, and we're pretty close to deploying that fix. So from this point forward, I would say any and every addition or removal of depot relating to your MPN ID, your MPN primary contact should be receiving those emails.
Yeah, and the Cloud Services Partner Dashboard, which you can access. So from the Microsoft Partner Portal, when you look at membership and there's a report section, there's the Partner Summary Report, which is kind of like a profile summary, and then there's the Cloud Services Partner Dashboard, and you will be able to see your customer subscriptions in there as well. So just another way for you to kind of keep track of what subscriptions are associated to you or not, just as an add-on to this email notification that's also going to go to you. Another question, Fearghal, Kelly asks, can you expand on subscription? Is this unique purchases of licenses? For example, Dynamics Online customer purchases, additional licenses, or is this a unique subscription?
So that's a good question as well. It really depends on the product. So I see you've referenced Dynamics as that example. So Dynamics would work slightly differently to other products. So an additional supplemental purchase, let's say, of Dynamics seats on top of an already existing base, they would generally be added to the same subscription, deployed within that subscription. For Office, for example, purchasing a new set of E5 entitlements where there are already existing E3s, that would mean a new subscription is created. So it really depends on the product and the scenario in question, and on the way we deploy those products. For Azure, for example, as an evergreen service, every new purchase, so to speak, is purchased as an entitlement, and then that is consumed against an additional subscription. So, said differently, an additional purchase in Azure would not automatically mean a new subscription. However, this customer can decide to create a new or spin up a new Azure subscription at any point in time. The Dynamics example that you said, an additional purchase on top of an existing base within the same account, would not mean a new subscription. It would just mean the addition of those entitlements to the existing subscription. Within Office, for example, depending on whether it's additional seats of an existing exact product or supplemental seats of a newer version of their product, in the latter, it would mean a new subscription. In the former, it would mean the existing subscription remains. So it's a complex answer, but you need to look at the way the purchases will impact or create a new subscription or not. And that's, of course, that was the question, but the way a subscription is created or not will, of course, impact the ability to add a new DPOR, or will the existing DPOR be kept.
So Kelly also asks a follow-up, if they're going to set up a new tenant, is this considered a new subscription?
I would need to check and get back to you on that, but I believe it would.
Okay, Kelly, you can send a note on Yammer or send me an email. Also, I'll share my email address with you and with everyone at the end of the call. So, and I can direct the question to Fearghal and get that answered. I think the MPN 101 group on Yammer would still be the best place, so everyone can see your question, and even though it's specific, it might apply to other partners as well. Sidru, I'm sorry if I'm completely butchering your name. He has a question. We have received confirmation that we're online services advisor partner of record, but customer is not showing up in our cloud services dashboard.
Yeah, it should be. So depending on when you were added and the refresh timing of those reports, it may not be visible to you yet. So that's one potential reason for that. Another is that the customer has not started using, so there's no activity on that subscription either. So the cloud dashboard depends on activity being registered for that to become visible. So there's a few possible scenarios there, but if you wanted to provide specifics on that case and that subscription and your ID, I can follow up with the appropriate team and have them give you a full answer on that.
And I think the MPN support team would also be a good place. So it's 1-800-MPN solve. You can go ask that specific question there. So if it is that that customer isn't showing up on your dashboard through some sort of glitch, then they will correct that.
And in addition, there is and I guess for those who are on the call, there is an email alias that you can use that goes directly to that dashboard team. So it's askpi, ASKPI at Microsoft.com. So I think you could email those directly. But sorry, Chinmayi, you're right. The official MPN door is still the official door. But I think as a thank you to those guys who attended the call today, I mean, AskPI is fully available for them to use as well.
Meryl had a question. What should a partner who is at risk of losing a competency status due to their being removed as digital partner of record, who should they contact to work through these specific situations of establishing that and getting that credit?
Sorry, I was just distracted with one of the messages. Can you just say the beginning of that question again?
Yeah, it's if a partner is removed as the digital partner of
Hmm.
record and they are at risk of losing a competency because of that, is there, you talked about you can definitely prove that you're driving consumption for your customer. Who would a partner reach out to get that addressed?
Um, there's the MPN support team. So just maybe I was not clear earlier. So in terms of not needing to be DPOR, I had understood the question was in relation to the customer evidence, the customer references for competency attainment, not for the consumption,
Gotcha.
the activity requirement.
Gotcha.
So sorry if I was not clear earlier. So the activity requirement, so the requirement to have, X number of actively used seats or X, amount of consumed Azure, that is still only measured through DPOR. In terms of the references that you would add, either the 3 for silver or the 5 for gold, I'd understood the question was around that, and do you need to be DPOR for those customers? And the answer to that is no. But the answer to, do you need to be DPOR to get the activity-based recognition? Then the answer is yes.
Okay. Marco has another question. If I'm an indirect CSP, will the customer show up on my portal?
Yes, they should.
Okay. I think there was one question that I hadn't gotten to about, can you address how the digital partner of record payments are reported? We have issues trying to match up our payments to the customers that have assigned us as their digital partner of record.
So the digital partner of record payments, I'm assuming you're referring to the incentives that are associated to being DPOR, either for Azure or for Office or other products. So you have a few different reports available to you to understand your DPOR influence activity. The official incentive statements, these are the ones that are made available to you through the chip portal, for example, for Azure. They are the official statement in terms of earning for incentive eligibility. Chinmayi mentioned the cloud dashboard as well. That is another report that is available to you to see your DPOR association or your overall partner association, because the cloud dashboard will show you, your DPOR relationships. It will also show you your CSP customer relationships, for example. Mm-hmm. Whereas the incentive statement specific to Azure for DPOR will only show you DPOR. The cloud dashboard will show you DPOR for Azure, but it will give you it's more generous in terms of the recognition, let me say that. It doesn't just give you credit from the point of DPOR attach or the date of DPOR attach forward. You will get some trailing months credit for that, even if you're only attached after a certain point for DPOR. For incentives, that's not the case. We will only deem you eligible for incentives from the date of DPOR attached forward. So there's different logic applied to those different reports, whether it's the program, the Microsoft program that it comes from, CSP or EA or OSA or Direct. And then in terms of the time frame we use, it's different as well. So if you're trying to match the incentive earnings with the cloud dashboard, you need to do some mathematics to make it match, and that is why you would really be best directed to use the official incentive statement to understand what you are earning the incentives from.
And who can we contact regarding questions we might have on incentive payments? I think one platform is that within the Yammer community, there is a partner incentives and investments group, and you can ask your question there, Chris, and Fearghal, if you have other resources.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if it's a specific question, Chris, you need to give data in, you might want to use the Yammer group. So there are regional-based incentive support teams. For North America, the address is OCINA, OCINA, and that is the address that you will get any comms from the incentive support team on, and that's a team that you can contact directly. It's a support link on the MPN site itself, or you can use that email address directly as well. Ultimately, the conversation between you and the team will be from that Ocina, OCINA at Microsoft.com. They will be from that email address.
All right, folks, I know there are more questions, but we are running out of time. I will take the question and get back to you, hopefully by end of day. I think the MPN 101 Yammer group would be the best place to post more of these questions, and we'll have Fearghal help answer those questions as well. Thank you so much for attending this call. Hopefully this was useful. I know this is a hot topic, so we'll definitely think about bringing Fearghal back on the MPN 101 community call in the future as well. Thank you, Fearghal. This was amazing. It was very useful, a lot of Q&A, a lot of engagement. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And for the folks that are still on the call, please let us know if you were satisfied with the call. There is a question that's popping up. You'll get the deck and the recording by end of day today. And keep sending your messages and questions before you sign off if there's something that wasn't addressed, and we will get back to you by end of the week. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the week.